Countless champions have been crowned throughout the history of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But what about the underdogs, the dark horses, the decks that upon first glance make you question everything you thought you knew about the game? In this series, both MBT and myself will be showcasing some of Yu-Gi-Oh's wackiest unsung heroes. Each episode will feature new decks, new strategies, and the results will be unpredictable. You've seen the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! But this is the history of Jank. If you want 5% off any singles or sealed product, click the affiliate links in the description and use code Cimoooooooo5. And clicking the TCG Player affiliate link before you shop helps support us to provide you with more amazing content.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I better not hear you laughing. Well, we lost the last one, and now, rather than the shirt of shame, we are in the Jank tank. Yeesh. Maybe like, nope, not taking. Ugh, I look like a guy who plays a children's card game for a living. Well, mark my words, by the end of this series, not only will I have utterly humiliated Cimo, I will also look good in this. Yeesh. It's a long way off, though. Anyway, here's the wheel for today. Now, it's the same as last time, but we took off the decks that we played. Benkai, which apparently the O stands for, oh my god, this deck is terrible, and relinquished a deck that I personally had been excited to play, but unfortunately did not have the opportunity to. Ideally, we're not going to get Zork twice in a row here, which is really, really, really important because we only have 2 spins. Like last time, I am gunning for Pac-Man. I would be happy playing Water. I would also be happy playing Aggro Bomb, which I believe is the most powerful deck still represented on the wheel. So let's see what we get. Oh, please. Damn. Ugh. Gravekeeper's not fun. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's just Spy Turbo. Do you know what people were playing in Gravekeeper? Assailant Beatdown. I can't resign myself to losing to Gene Warped Warwolf. Let's see what we got. Let's fucking go!
And just like that, match number 1 goes to Cimo. We did everything we could to avoid the Jank tank this time, but obviously that's going to be a battle every single episode. As you can see, the wheel is actually exactly as it was from the previous episode. We just removed the slices of the wheel that we played in the previous episode. That way it doesn't duplicate itself at all. So let's go ahead and spin. We've got 3 spins, and let's hope that we can get something good. I'll be happy to play all these decks, to be honest. They're all going to be pretty fun. So let's see where we end up. Rescue Cat's actually a hell of a card. I mean, just being able to just pump out so much damage so quickly. You know what? Let's play this.
Okay. Words cannot describe how excited I am for this match. Listen, sex is cool and all, but have you ever resolved the effect of Desolacuda? This is Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man, baby. Pac-Man is an acronym that stands for Pure Advantage Camel Munches All Noobs. And if you check out Desolacuda, it's not hard to see how it got that name. This is one of the most innovative decks to ever come out of GOAT format. People were playing it historically, but it never had success because it is so easily countered and so weak to board wipes. And you're probably going to see that in these matches. So the idea behind Pac-Man is that there are a series of monsters that aren't flip effect monsters, but do have powerful effects that trigger when they are flipped. They are Swarm of Scarabs, Swarm of Locusts, and Desolacuda. These destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field when it's flip summoned, destroy a spell trap on your opponent's side of the field when it's flip summoned, and draw you a card respectively. And then once per turn, you can flip it to face down defense position. Now, these aren't the only cards with effects like this. In the Lost Millennium, the first GX set that a lot of people forget is included in GOAT format, we've also got Golem Sentry, which can once per turn change to face down defense position, then flip summon to bounce a monster, and Medusa Worm, which is literally just a second copy copy of Swarm of Scarabs. These cards weren't very far apart. Or did they forget they had already printed Swarm of Scarabs? Anyway, this deck is extremely budget. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh! As a child, you probably remember Swarm of Scarabs as a thorn in your fucking side. It was a really accessible removal tool that everyone seemed to have. I remember getting a copy of Swarm of Scarabs as an entry promo at a Toys R Us when I was a child, and then dominating the playground scene for weeks because I had it. We're also playing 3 Book of Moon very good in a deck that likes to set cards face down, but more importantly, can prevent your opponent from attacking, because unfortunately these cards do not trigger if they are flipped face up. You have to flip summon them, which means that oftentimes you're going to need to blank an opponent's attack in order to get anything done. We've got a duo, a charity, 2 level limit area B, of course, a mystical space typhoon, double nobleman of crossout, a pot of greed, triple compulse, double gravity bind, ring of destruction, triple solemn judgment. There are sweepers in this format that absolutely wreck your day. 3 threatening roar, and 3 of this bad boy, wall of revealing light. Not being used for last turn, it's being used to prevent your opponent from attacking with a breaker, the magical warrior. In the side deck, we have the secret win conditions. Stealth Bird. This is another one of the Pac-Man monsters, but it deals 1,000 damage to your opponent. Really important that you have this accessible in the sideboard. Oftentimes games will go very long and you have pretty much no way of actually closing them out. Stealth Bird is a great way to do that, even if you're always losing the board state. We're playing the 3rd Swarm of Locusts in the board as well as a Heavy Storm, triple Mind Control, Swords of Revealing Light, triple Dust Tornado, and triple 7 Tools of the Bandit. So really excited for this one, but temper your expectations.
You know, it's funny, we were just doing Synchro Cat in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And here we are showcasing probably Rescue Cat's like first real use in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was in a deck like this. So introducing Rescue Cat OTK. The premise of this deck is quite simple. What we're aiming to do is get a combination of Rescue Cat plus Last Will, because by using Rescue Cat's effect to tribute itself off, we can special summon 2 beast monsters from our deck that are level 3 or lower. In this case, we can get Gyakugire Panda and Milus Radiant, and then use Last Will since a monster was sent from our field to the graveyard, get a second Rescue Cat, and because pre-errata, this card was not a once per turn, tribute it off again, summon the other 2 Milus Radiants, and that is actually 7,700 points of damage just from this 2-card combo alone. Now, obviously, it's GOAT format, right? So it's pretty unlikely we're going to be able to hit that on an open board, but we have a lot of cards to try to make that happen more in our favor. So first up is Cyberjar, just a nice board wipe, and to be able to get a lot of the pieces of our combo together. Exiled Force to clear monsters out of the way. 3 Giant Rat. This actually tutors the majority of our deck. If we find ourselves in like a turn 1 sort of situation where he hits Rat, we summon Rescue Cat, and he can't really out it, then we're off to the races. And 3 Gyakugire Panda. This card is so funny. The fact it gains 500 attack for each monster the opponent controls, but also the fact it does piercing. People were looking for ways to deal with Scapegoat around this time, and this is one of the few cards that actually had just very good synergies all around, and that's why you see this card seeing a decent amount of play because Scapegoat was so prolific. 1 Injection Fairy Lily for huge damage, also searchable via Giant Rat. 3 Milus Radiant to get off of the Rescue Cat, a Morphing Jar to help us get to our combo quicker, the 3 Rescue Cat, of course, and the 1 Sangan to search pretty much actually every card in our deck, so that's pretty nice. For the spells, 2 Book of Moon, 3 Giant Trunade. I don't know how this card was ever legal at 3, because it might as well just be Heavy Storm. We clear all the back row away, and if we see an opening with Rescue Cat, we're probably just going to win the game. Graceful Charity, Heavy Storm, 3 copies of Last Will. Speaking of other cards that I somehow don't understand ever were at more than 1, or banned for that matter. This card is just absurd. You may know it from the Magical Scientist FTK, but this is another use for the card around this time. 2 level limit area B. A majority of our deck's actually pretty low level, and so we can actually play under this card fairly well, and then once we want to go for the combo, we can just Trunade it back to our hand. Joseph used this in the last game as well, so I want to get back at him for that. 2 Noblemen to deal with sets, Pot of Greed, Premature Burial, Snatch Steal, and United We Stand. This can actually be one of the 3rd cards we can have in combo with our Rescue Cat and Last Will, and just helps us win the game automatically. For traps, Call the Haunted, Ceasefire, Magic Cylinder, Ring of Destruction, and Torrential Tribute. The Ceasefire, Magic Cylinder, and Ring, I guess more the Magic Cylinder and the Ceasefire Ring was pretty common, but these 2 specifically, we're trying to just close the gap for what we're not able to actually kill. Magic Cylinder and Ceasefire can do a pretty good job of actually just winning the game just outright. And then for the side deck, we have a bit of a transformative sideboard here that can actually lean us into burn with 1 Wave Motion Cannon, triple Justice Urge, triple Ojama Trio, and triple Seeker Barrel. And then we have some other cards just for dealing with back row as well, because since we are playing an OTK deck, we do want to make sure that the path is cleared before committing. 1 Breaker, 2 Mobius, and a Mystical Space Typhoon, and then Tribe Infecting Virus just as a way to clear monsters that are already out on the field. Just one of the best removal tools available at the time. So, guys, that's going to do it for me. I cannot wait to see what Joseph spun on the wheel. It's going to be another fun episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel. Oh my God, Joseph.
What's the problem, buddy? What's the issue?
Gee, I don't know. Why would you have Pac-Man sleeves on in the history of Jank?
I'm just a fan. I'm just
wonder.
a fan. I love arcade cabinets.
You just love Namco? Is that what it is?
I'm a big fan of Namco. Yeah. That's what it is.
Fuck off. I mean, the best part is you could just have these sleeves and be playing a completely different deck just to like throw me into a false sense of security.
I'm gonna fire
typically your sleeve game is on point.
I'm gonna set a card. You're gonna expect it to be Deslakuta. You're gonna attack, and it's gonna be a Cybercharge. 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. That would be actually pretty funny if that did happen that way. I'm excited though. You know, we still have plenty of decks to discover just on this wheel alone before we even progress further chronologically in the history of Jank, and they all look like fun, right?
Yeah.
Like everything on the wheel, I was like, yeah, I'm happy to play this. Sure, like let's do it.
This better not be a fucking mirror. We won't. Have you ever played a Pac-Man mirror, Simo? Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
No.
Let me tell you this. It'll make your sealed showdown games look like your progression series games. That's what a Pac-Man mirror will do to you.
Fantastic. Well, let's hope that's not the case. Good luck, buddy. I am going to shout out our patron. It is Avery Hayden. Avery, God, give me strength.
Avery, you're going to be hating this episode. Let's go!
I was waiting for you to say it, but buddy, rock, paper, scissors generator's up. What are you feeling?
All right. There are 5 different Pac-Man monsters, so let me get 5.
That's 1.
Scarab.
That's 2.
Locust.
3.
Stealth Bird.
4.
Golem Sentry.
5.
Medusa Worm, baby. Fuck! Well, you know.
The Medusa Worm ate right through the wall. Okay, well, I definitely want to go first.
I don't think it matters.
Good luck, buddy.
I'm going to be real with you.
I don't think it matters either. Let's hope for the best. Let's see what we can do. This is kind of disappointing, not going to lie. Well, let's just start with a set 2 pass. Go ahead, buddy.
It's interesting. Anything in standby?
No, you're fine.
You know, it boggles my mind that Dust Shoot was at 3 in this format and people didn't figure it out.
Right?
All right, we're going to go 1, 2... Go ahead.
We'll draw. Anything on your standby?
Thinking. How many cards do you have in hand?
I have a total of 5.
And, you know, quick question. That's more or less than 4?
That is more than 4.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Main 1. I don't even know how to deal with this.
Don't worry. That's how everyone feels against Pac-Man. And then during game 2, you go, oh, I figured it out. And then you never lose again.
Go ahead.
All right, standby main.
Flip them up.
Munch all noobs! Munch all noobs! Munch all noobs! Munch all noobs! Woo! Can I
It's your draw. Yes, you may.
It's over, buddy. You'll never be able
it resolved.
to defeat my Pac-Man. All right, get in there, Lakuta.
I'll take the 5.
Damn! We got you on the 16-turn clock.
Anyone's game. Anyone's game.
Sounds
good.
What do I do from here? So I'll set this. Set this too. Who fucking cares? Go ahead.
Okay, we'll draw. That's a nice one. We'll Pot of Greed.
Oh, that is a nice one. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
That's a little bit better, I suppose. I really don't want that fucking camel flipping up again. I'm gonna True Nade.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll chain Threatening Roar.
It may be flipping up anyway then. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this as chain 3. I'm gonna chain Ceasefire.
Ooh, that's interesting. So my monsters aren't flip summoned; they are flipped, and I take 1,000. That's kind of killer.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so we'll resolve that. So then this will go to grave. Everything else gets bounced. I still can't attack you. The Locust is a nice one. I'll just set then.
Now you see the true power of Pac-Man. Fuck. All right.
There we go. And I'll just set 2 more and throw it on over to you, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, time for some interesting interactions. Did you know that if I switch my Lakuta to defense position using its own effect, I can still flip summon it?
I did, and I might have a response first.
Oh, okay.
So on the activation of Lakuta to flip it down, I'm going to Ring of Destruction it.
Ah, Ah, you, I can't believe you would do this to me! It's actually
I already gave you one draw. That's enough, buddy. You don't need more than that.
All right, let's see if we can go for this set card.
It's a Book of Moon. I don't even know if I want to activate this.
Please book
yeah,
my
like,
swarm.
do I want to book the swarm? Like, that seems terrible. You had to use the effect to flip it down, so no, I'll actually leave it in attack. That's fine.
So this is funny. These effects that say once per turn, the way they work, you should be able to activate it again. But Konami has just come out and been like, no, you can't. These are hards. I'm sorry.
Right. Because that would be a little bit broken.
I mean, I don't even know if it'd be broken, but it would be annoying, and that's what counts.
It would be very annoying.
All right, speaking of annoying, let's knock this set card.
Sure. It's a giant rat.
Oh, son of a gun, you're on aggro bomb. Oh, Christ, that's the best deck that remains. Oh, God. All right, I'll get in for 1,000.
I'll take it, sure.
Whatever. Second main will go 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Go ahead.
I'll draw. Anything in standby.
No.
Go to main 1. I guess we will bring out the Gyakugire Panda.
Oh, this is a card. So what's this guy at right now?
18. 500 points for each monster on your field.
Okay.
Now, question is, how do we want to do this? If I don't take out the Locust, then if I try to set anything, you can just flip Locust, flip it back up, and then that becomes a bit of a problem. If I go after the set, that could be like another Lakuta, and that could be equally as annoying. That's also ignoring the fact that you have 3 back row, and that could just pretty much just spell my demise entirely. So we'll go to the battle phase.
All right, I'll make this a little easier for you. I'm going to Wall of Revealing Light here.
Okay, sure. That will make it easier for me.
Okay.
How much are you going to pay?
I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. So you've got...
It's okay. Dueling Book's still lagging anyway, so you've got time. There we go.
So you've got the rats. You've got, I imagine, the koalas. Unfortunately, Wall doesn't really work against Injection Fairy Lily. I think I'm going to pay the minimum for this so I don't get, like, secret barreled out of this game. We'll do 2,000.
So then I will not be doing anything this battle phase. I will instead just go over to main phase 2, and I think I'll just pass the turn, buddy. Go ahead and show me your swarm of scarabs now.
Well, if you insist.
Yep, I figured. It's gone.
All right, we're also going to normal summon a Golem Sentry.
Oh, it's getting pretty bad. Yep.
Combat, we're going to go 1, 2, 3.
So that is 500, 800, and 1,000.
Okay, now we've got you on the 3-turn clock. Main phase 2, we're going to set 3 cards. Could be anything.
Anything. Could be literally anything.
And you're good to go.
Okay, we'll draw. Anything standby.
No.
This is just quite the predicament. I need to figure out how we're going to deal with this.
So this is Pac-Man.
It's pretty bad.
It locks you down, but it also gives you like 5 turns to find the out.
But the problem is with you being this established, it makes it even more difficult. Okay, so I'm going to Premature Burial here.
Targeting the Gyakugire.
That's what I'm targeting. Any response?
I do not have a response to that now.
Okay, we'll bring him on out. Gyakugire is 2,300 now, so it can actually hit over the wall.
Oh,
However, you have 3
okay.
other cards. Don't really have much else going on. What am I afraid of the most? If I attack the Scarabs, then Locust can pop Premature, which pops Gire, and the opposite is also true. And then you have the Golem Sentry, which is, I think, the least of my concerns, because at least I get the Gire back to hand in that case, so that's not that bad. 3 back row, don't have much going on. I might as well try for it. I'm going to bring out Milus Radiant. Wrong version of this card.
Milus Radiant is fine.
And then I will United We Stand the Milus Radiant.
Yo, that's crazy. So what does the Milus Radiant go to here?
So it gains 500 from its own effect, so it's 800, and then it gains 1,600 for the United We Stand. So that makes it a total of 24. And this is where we walk directly into Mirror Force.
Sure, when you enter battle, I am going to Mystical Space Typhoon, targeting the Premature Burial.
Sure. So Premature Burial and the Gyakugire Panda go. This makes it that my Milus Radiant is no longer able to attack under Wall of Revealing Light, which means I am basically boned. I will go to the second main, and I will just cry in a corner. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, let's get that crying going. Flip summon Swarm of Scarabs, get that bad boy out of here.
It's gone. It's gone.
All right, let's just normal summon another one. We'll go for
Sure.
an amount of damage that I believe is actually not lethal. I think it leaves you at 100.
It's barely.
Oh my god, I
enough to
hate
keep me
this
alive.
deck! I hate this deck so much! All right, we're gonna
I still need to
activate
out
every
this. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, go ahead.
I think you're looking pretty fine. Ooh, well, Graceful Charity might be able to.
Oh man, that's rough. Hold up.
Got something?
I do. I'm going to solemn that.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, then I'll just concede.
Oh,
I'm dead.
all right. There we go.
Good game.
Wow, that's Pac-Man, baby! And now for Pac-Man's greatest nemesis, Game 2.
Yeah, that went about exactly as I expected it would. Fun game, great time, wonderful experience.
Unfortunately, I think this one's about to go exactly as I expected it would.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, obviously, things can happen, but not looking forward to it. I'll say that. And I feel like that's the general sentiment when playing against this deck. Good luck, buddy.
Oh, good luck to you, too. You will need it with my hand.
I will go ahead and set a monster. And I think I'll set 2 back row and pass the turn.
One-time Heavy Storm. Oh, please, one-time Heavy Storm. You ready?
Let's see it.
No, I'm kidding. It's graceful.
Yeah, it's fine.
Ooh, Christ. Okay, we're gonna lose a Stealth Bird, and let's also lose a Stealth Bird, I think we're gonna also lose.
You know, I just love that Stealth Bird used to actually be a somewhat playable card back in the day.
Yeah, emphasis on somewhat. All right, we're gonna set 4 and pass back to you.
Sure. We will draw. Anything in standby.
You didn't want to go fishing at end step? Come on. Yeah, that's fine.
Main one. We'll fire a Graceful Charity of our own.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's draw 3. Ooh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's heavy. Oh, no. Someone pilled me on this.
What do you mean, Joseph?
You've never, every time you draw heavy in any of your series, you go, that's interesting. And
do I? Is that like the tell?
Well, did you draw heavy or not? Let's find out.
I guess we'll find out after I discard. My hand is just so good, I don't know what to get rid of.
Oh, great. Fantastic. You know what? On me, why don't you just keep them all?
All right, so with our Graceful Charity, let's go ahead and pitch the United We Span and a Gyakugire Panda.
I'm actually surprised you kept in the United We Stand. This card is good.
I am too.
It's good when you can win in one turn, which is probably never going to happen versus Pac-Man.
I'm going to tribute Giant Rat for Mobius the Frost Monarch.
What?
Is that fine?
It is very much not fine. What the fuck? Oh my god.
It's not Heavy Storm, but it's not bad.
Oh, I have to think about this, I think.
You have a Solemn back there, I'm guessing.
Of course I have a Solemn back there. The problem is, do I take 4,000 damage versus the burn deck? There's no way. There's no way that that's the play. You pop 2. Let me figure out what the scenario is.
Let me target the 2 first.
No, don't target the 2. Don't target the 2. I have to pick first.
Don't target. Oh yeah, you have to summon. That's right. It's in the summon window. Okay, fine. Ignore the die roll then. I'll re-roll.
Don't even bother re-rolling. I will let this resolve. What are your targets?
Okay, so then we will target. Let's see what our magical die says. We're going to target this. And we are going to target this.
Right, I will
so
change
the 2 right ones. That is fine.
All right, it was the Threatening Roar and the Solemn.
It was the Solemn. Okay, so we got that out of the way. We can't attack, which is a bit unfortunate.
Just boarded into Monarchs. What the fuck? Wow,
it's me, Joseph. What are you talking about?
Again, Alex.
Would you expect anything else from me for how much I love Monarchs? I mean, that's just
History of Jank Fun aggro deck. And then that's boarded a Mobius. Here he comes. You got a Ryza in there too, buddy?
No, because it wasn't legal, but I wish. I think I might just be done. If that's the case. It's kind of sad. I really wanted to do something, but it's okay. I'll just pass. Go ahead. What do you got?
It's Swarm of Scarabs.
So the Mobius goes. I think that's fine. I think if you didn't have Scarabs, you might want to Solemn the Mobius.
That's why it was actually a discussion. I was like, how the fuck do I out this if I don't Solemn it? I don't know. Let's go to battle phase.
I'll take it.
You sure? Are you sure? You could Mirror Force this.
I could. I very well could.
And maybe you will someday. I'll set a couple and you're good.
Okay. During your end phase, I'm going to space the one you just set.
Ooh, it's a Compulse.
Okay. We'll draw. And let's run out a Breaker.
You have got to be fucking with me, boy.
Is that fine?
I'm not super happy about it, no.
Pop.
I will activate Wall of Revealing Light. I'm going to pick 0 as my multiple.
Sounds great. Sounds like a plan. We'll go to battle. I'm going to hit into this, what I know is the Scarab, so at least give Breaker a chance to live. And I'll pass it over to you, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, 1-time Floodgate. Nope. All right, let's try Lakuta.
Lakuta is fine.
2-time Floodgate.
Much about that.
Damn it. All right, let's go Lakuta set, this set, this set. Go ahead.
Let's try to run out of Sangin.
Ooh, Sangin is so fucking bad for me. Yeah, that's fine.
Battle, let's hit into what I know is the Lakuta.
That is A-okay. May he rest in
And
peace.
we'll try to hit into the other set.
I'm going to book here, targeting your breaker.
Interesting. So that's probably a Scarabs then, because you want to be able to kill Breaker, and I think Scarabs has exactly 1,000 defense to be able to stop the Sangan from being able to kill it. Fine. Second main, I suppose I'll just set one. We'll pass it to you.
Oh, thank God. Get rid of your fucking hand, dude. Let's go.
Oh, come on. It was Last Will Trunade.
Oh my God. All right. Okay.
Yeah, if you didn't have Threatening Where I was going to Last Will on the Mobius turn. But I figured there wasn't really too much of a point. Maybe I should have gone for it anyway.
All right, it's Worm. I'm going to target the breaker.
Sure.
Set 2, and you are good to go.
Draw, standby main. That's a pretty good top deck. Get rid of this.
Oh, yep.
Okay, there goes the Locusts. Yeah, Battle will hit for 1,000. I'm going to call the Haunted, bring back Mobius, and hit for 24 as well.
That's pain. Actual
You're on
pain.
no cards, so I need to put you on a clock. Go ahead.
That's quite the clock.
Standby main. What am I afraid to lose to at this point? I'm going to put Sangan to defense and hit for 24.
I'm going to book here. It sucks, but I have to keep my life high enough that if I draw a wall, it's live, I think.
Sure.
Christ. Go ahead.
Draw. Flip the Mobius.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, this is still a 2-turn clock regardless, so we'll hit.
I'll compulse the Mobius.
Okay. He's back to hand. Second main, I will set one and pass it to you.
Knock your monster.
It is a Milus Radiant.
Can I please get a fucking floodgate? My whole deck is floodgates.
If I could just close it out, that would be nice. We'll tribute the Sangan for the Mobius.
Yep.
Trigger the Sangan. Let's get a Rescue Cat.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Go to battle for 24.
Mm-hmm.
And then, am I afraid of anything else? Not really. Go ahead.
This isn't aggro bomb at all. Why am I playing around just desserts? I should have known with the last will. Son of a gun. All right, go ahead.
Got another back row. Let's see you stop him.
Oh, okay. It's gravity bind.
Okay, that will stop him.
It'll
That's
stop him.
main
It won't
phase 2
stop
for
the
me.
rescue cat.
It will not. Not really. I'm kind of content. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Draw. We will not do that. That was a misclick. Let's Trunade here.
And I know you have the cat in hand.
You know I have the cat, yes.
Well, congratulations.
All right, we did it. Woo!
Well, I think we've encapsulated the Pac-Man experience. Win game 1 in a completely humiliating fashion to your opponent, and then get humiliated game 2. Why did they introduce sideboards into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, heaven
man.
forbid. Oh,
Kazuki
no.
Takahashi's greatest mistake was allowing you to put a Mobius into your rescue cat deck.
Atrocious.
Oh,
absolutely atrocious. What are you going to do, buddy?
I guess I'm going first. I mean,
Oh,
let's
I
see what we can
guess.
do here.
This is the first game you get to, and I'm pretty scared because that could be very bad for me. Good luck.
Okay. Oh, this hand is... Oh, it's terrible. Okay, let's start off with a Pot of Greed.
Oh, so terrible. Show me the graceful
Jesus.
charity follow-up.
This hand is just so bad.
Oh, so bad.
Peaky bad.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's just awful.
Okay, getting rid of Medusa Worm,
I don't
Compulse. You gonna
care,
duo
dude.
me while you're at it?
I
Oh,
wish
wow.
I-
Okay.
Could you imagine? I think we could just wrap up the episode now if I had duo. As is, despite me going plus 18 on my first turn, still a pretty good chance I lose this one, I think.
Well, we'll find out. I will go to standby. Do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay,
You
we'll
think
go to
this
main
deck
one.
has room for cards that don't prevent attacks from going through? Son of a gun!
You have judgment. How much do you want it, buddy?
I got a judgment here. I got a
You're
judgment.
really going to judgment. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna follow it up with a heavy storm then.
Well,
You got the second judgment.
That was my thought process. I was like, well, I think I can safely judgment this. I mean, what the fuck? Is he gonna lead with Nobleman if he's got a heavy storm? And the answer is yes. I'm gonna Dust Tornado, targeting the heavy storm.
Sure. Sounds good.
And then that's fine, yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Great game. I still have to kill the set, or at least flip it
that's
up.
gonna be very difficult for you.
We'll bring out a panda. We'll hit.
Oh, God, it pierces. Taking how much here?
So he's 13, so you take 7. Okay, second main. I guess I will set 2 of my own and pass the turn. Go ahead, buddy.
I mean, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do from here. That's Pac-Man. It can draw all the cards in the world, but it can't beat a Heavy Storm.
Bring out Injection Fairy Lily.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll hit.
Oh, okay. I'm going to return the Injection Fairy Lily.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Oh, wait.
That's fine.
Nope, it doesn't do that.
Oh, because it has to be when it's flipped. Manually flipped. So I could pump to hit over the Golem Sentry. Honestly, I'm kind of okay with that just so you don't flip it down. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not great, but it's whatever. Go ahead.
Awesome, dude. Just fantastic. Go ahead.
You said you want to give people the true Pac-Man experience, didn't you?
They're getting it. They are getting it, right?
We'll draw.
You drew heavy MST? You drew heavy MST in your opener?
I'm so good at the game, aren't I?
I mean, I guess I drew fucking Pot of Greed for all the good it did.
Yeah, you drew Pot of Greed. This is game right
here. That is the end of the game. All right.
That is the end of the game. Good
That's
game.
Pac-Man. That's Pac-Man, buddy. 3-minute game 2, 8-minute game 3. Guess what the first game? 20-minute game 1 that I won by edging it out. What's the next card? Solemn Judgment. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted.
Perfect.
Oh,
fantastic.
Man.
I was going to say, you can't complain about me drawing MSC Heavy Storm because you drew Pot of Greed Graceful Charity. So,
I think I can.
you know,
I'm gonna. I mean, I don't think it's like valid or reasonable, but I'm gonna do it. Oh,
fine.
Son
Fair.
of a gun. I
had a giant True Nade if that makes you feel any better, but
it doesn't. No, the difference between True Nade and Judgment is just night and fucking day, or True Nade and Heavy Storm. Oh fuck. How do people play this deck?
I mean, it's one of your favorites. You love it.
It is.
So
one
you
of my
tell
favorites.
me.
Okay, so I'll give you the Pac-Man lore. Pac-Man is the greatest deck that's ever invented in a format where people are only playing best of ones. But if you ever have to play a game 2 or you ever have to play a game 3, you are fucked. 6 ways from Sunday. We were in the sideboarding discussion, and Alex is like, you know, I have like 14 cards that could come out. And I was like, oh, do you? Oh, do you have 14 cards? Big surprise. That's just Pac-Man.
To be fair, that didn't mean I had 14 cards to side in. It just meant that they were marginally better than what I was siding out. Because, you know, cards like Snatch Steal and the like going up against a deck that never has face-up monsters, you know, playing something like a Secret Barrel or a Just Desserts might be a little bit better than that in the sideboard. I was actually playing Rescue Cat OTK, which I think you finally figured out.
During game 2, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, and it actually had a bit of a transformative sideboard into a bit of a aggro bomb sort of list with triple Just Dessert, triple Ojama Trio, triple Secret Barrel, and then we also had a bunch of slots of like spell and trap removal, which you saw the Mobiuses and the like. So yeah, common. I basically just took out every card that was suboptimal against you, like Book of Moon and Snatch Steal, and just all these cards that do absolutely nothing. And, you know, we actually had a decent deck in games 2 and 3. I agree with you, though. Like, the first game, and this is very indicative of a lot of, like, counterplaying against certain meta strategies, not just during this time, but also in regular Yu-Gi-Oh! If you go to a tournament, you could build a deck, and it's a hard counter for whatever the best decks are at the time. But the sideboard is going to completely change that dynamic once you get to games 2 and 3. And so that's, like, where most of the time, especially since we are covering the history of Jank, that's why you'll see both casual and competitively decks like this will just tend to fall off towards later stages of tournaments because they just can't continuously do the same thing over and over again over the course of an 11-round tournament.
I can't believe it. I drew 9 cards, and I was like, no. I need to protect the Des Lakuta. What if I need to draw a 10th card? Oh,
greed. Man. Absolute greed on the history of Jank.
That is fair. But in my defense, I, at that time, did not have a floodgate. I was missing a wall. I was missing a level limit area B. And I was like, if I don't find one of these cards, you know, I had a Book of Moon set. And I was like, the Book of Moon is 1 turn of dealing with the problem.
Right.
You know, after that, you're going to have an issue.
And to be fair, had I not had Heavy Storm exactly, I mean, this would have been actually just a completely different game, right? I mean, you had Dust Tornado to take care of my back row. You had Compulses to be able to set me back in tempo, so that way you could get your flips up, get your effects. In the case of Lakuta surviving, that way you could draw more cards. You had the Golem Sentry to be able to just bounce my stuff back to hand. So, like, the one heavy, and like True Nade would set you back a turn, but it doesn't actually deplete you of the advantage, right? And even though it's at 3 and it's crazy for getting in with the OTKs, a Heavy Storm, it had to be that specifically, and you had to have no way to be able to stop it, which last I checked, Judgment's at 3, but Storm is at 1.
True Nade is not the worst for this deck. It's on triple Threatening Roar, you know, it's on Compulses, Book of Moons, stuff like that you can chain given a specific board state. Yeah, unfortunate. Pac-Man specifically, I think people remember this deck. At minimum, they remember Swarm of Scarabs from their childhood, because this is a strategy. Oh, Cyberjar is so funny. This is a strategy that is all at common. Like, Lakuta has only ever had common printings. Swarm of Scarabs has only ever had common printings. Hint, hint. And the result of that is everyone was able to get these cards if they wanted. So if your opponent is like another child who can't necessarily afford like Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, can't afford like Metamorphoses and Thousand Eyes Restricts and stuff, well, it turns out your super consistent strategy, though bullshit, unfun, and unfair, does have a pretty good matchup versus suboptimal anything. And if you're playing on a playground, you don't have a fucking side deck with you. So a lot of these cards are just, they live rent-free in the heads of people who played like Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! During this period. But unfortunately, it translated to, I think, one competitive top ever, at which point it immediately lost.
And I think that when you're talking about expense, I think the DM staples are probably like the most expensive part, because like Judgment was like only at Ultra, unless you're talking about like maybe one of its super reprints a little bit later. Aside from that, maybe some of your other random just expensive staple cards, but a lot of those were actually reprinted in like the structure decks, like the Dragon and the Zombie one.
And
so,
at the time, people weren't playing Judgment. Like, this is a historical take on the deck.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day, people were like, oh, you know what? If they have Heavy Storm, they have Heavy Storm. That's not my problem.
Right. I mean, I guess, you know, after 15 years of trying to just completely re-evolve a strategy to make it competitive for the devout players of the GOAT format community that want to keep playing the deck, then yes, I guess it's going to go through multiple iterations. So yeah, to be fair, yeah, I mean, you know, budget decks were still around back then as well. And I like that it's still just, it's got its own flavor, right? And it's one of the most unique decks from the perspective of its naming, right? How many decks nowadays have a name like Pac-Man? That's this hilarious acronym. You know,
the best we can
just
manage
don't
now
name
is
decks
what? IDS, and that's named after the archetypes in it. Boring.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, people are just not as imaginative as they were back in the days when it came to naming their decks. But it is what it is. I guess that's what happens when 12-year-olds grow up. But you know, we'll see. But next time, though, Joseph, we still have, what, 6 other decks, I think, on the wheel that we still haven't even touched. And we still have a lot of fun ahead of us.
It was sick to see Rescue Cat in action as well. I mean, this deck it's so cool. It's a deck that I think evolved backwards. Like, it was kind of playable historically in Reaper format, and the players who were still on GOAT during that period were like, why the fuck are we not playing this in our format? It's got a lot more tools. It's one of the very few decks that's making use of Last Will, which is an incredibly powerful card that just historically saw next to zero play. But it's a great way to get multiple Rescue Cats out of your deck. You go Rescue Cat, Last Will, Rescue Cat. You can summon Gyaku Girays. You can summon, I don't know if you're on the expanded package, but like DD Crazy Beast, Des Wombat, Milus Radiant. I mean, there's a sick series of monsters you can get out. And Rescue Cat, unfortunately, is not really used again until Synchro Cat, at which point it is immediately semied and then limited. So the only real time you get to see it at 3 is this cool Last Will Chain OTK deck. I'm so glad you spun this. This is such a sick list.
And then it got banned, and then it got errata, so that way it could come off the list. And now people still play it today in 2021, which is crazy. And yeah, I did mention that in my deck building.
In the best deck. It's crazy.
Last Will is a card that, you know, obviously is just infamous for Magical Scientist FTK, and that's what most people attribute this card for. And then you see it coming up again, more so like in Reaper format once you start getting to like Monarch decks, because it's just so easy to trigger Last Will and just go crazy with it. But yeah, there was this like void in time where, as strong of a card as this is, and let's remember, this card's still banned. Like, this card is just not okay for the game at all. And it's for one of the most fan favorite formats ever. The fact that this card sees little to no play, it's just astonishing, right? But that's just, you know, indicative of the time and the fact that there wasn't really too many ways to capitalize on it. And Rescue Cat is one of the few self-sufficient cards that actually just makes it a 2-card combo, where typically when you look at like the Monarchs, you need a monster, a Monarch, and Last Will. Once you start getting into specific 3-card combos, it gets a little bit more convoluted, but Rescue Cat enabled that, and I think it's just really awesome to see.
It has a lot to do with people just not being sure what Last Will does as well.
That too.
Like, historically, when UDE was in charge of rulings, you know, the top rulings were like delivered from a judge, and you had to hear about it. And like, Last Will is one of the most convoluted, difficult cards in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, imagine printing a problem-solving card text version of this. People have tried to for all formats, and it hasn't gone well. It
would look like Last Turn if they did that.
Exactly. I mean, it gives you a lingering effect that you can activate at any phase except for the damage step. It's miserable.
Yeah.
But in GOAT format, there is a discrepancy as to what it does. Can you activate this card before the monster's set or after the monster's sent, you know?
Right.
And as a result, that insecurity about what the card actually does kind of kept it out of the competitive eye for a while. No one wanted to lose a game because the head judge had a different opinion on what Last Will did than they had read online. And so, what you end up with is things like the GOAT format people delivering a Last Will ruling in the year of our Lord 2021 that shakes up the format. And I'm glad that to this day, rulings archaeology has enabled jank like this to be playable. I'm so happy we got to show off these two decks.
And this is even the first time this has come up, because Last Will initially, the card was worded so poorly upon release in Japan that players initially thought that cards could just get sent to the graveyard from anywhere. So if you graceful charity and pitch monsters, you could summon a monster off of Last Will, as well as it was just absurd. And players initially thought that's how it worked because it was so poorly worded. So it was even more broken on release in Japan than it ever conceivably was here for us TCG players. Hilarious. A lot of people, I mean, I actually just learned that recently, but I mean, I bet a lot of people don't even know that that's how this card used to work. Just a fascinating card all around. I'm glad we did this show. So History of Jank's turning out fantastic so far. We still have so many other decks to cover. It's only going to get crazier as the years go by. I'm excited.
Me too.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the History of Jank. We have to shout out the patrons as always. So big shouts to Shao1317, Moto, Sean Alling Jr., and Gaoko Cameron Smith, Tim Zuzero X3, Ek Iron Fake, Pody Starkey, and Musa, Michael Dente, Part 2, Dan the Man Hoban, Synchro Guy, Ole, Mystic Walk, Sylvia Wild, Draconic, Dollywop, Logan Thomas, Peter Gregory, Thomas Nelson, Cole T, Jordan Coons, Kelvin, Iron Bladesman, Pure Ace, Jesse Wood, True Nerdgasm, Brother Paul, Chris Hood, I Want to Suck MBT's Toes, Lumpy, Nehru Celeste, David Liu, Rockley325, Yusuf Ass105, Lane Rogers, Silent Agent 216, I Side and Gren Maju and Salad, Sky Rose, Dylan Hunter, Brett Harvey, John Two Base, Apathy Astro, Brody Eastwood, Dace Zero, Carlos DT, Flannel Daddy, Give Me Speed Order, Give Me Death, MBT's Hard Leg, and TC Gaming. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you next time.